Whether it's summer or not, you need great appetizers that can sit out on the table all night long without melting, wilting, or becoming inedible. Today we're sharing 15 no-stress, no-fridge required appetizers you can set out and forget about while you enjoy the party. This is my summer go-to appetizer, Panzanella Skewers. So these are basically a caprese salad on a stick, except for we made one adjustment. These skewers would normally have little mozzarella balls, but since those can't be out of the refrigerator longer than about 2 hours, we replace them with Kalamata olives. Cube up a small baguette. The bread's actually better a little stale, so if you can leave it cubed on the counter for a few hours or even overnight, do it. You'll need some wooden skewers. I like these 5-inch bamboo skewers. Onto each skewer, thread a piece of bread, a cherry tomato, an olive wrapped in a basil leaf, another tomato, and then another piece of bread. Arrange the skewers on a serving platter as you go. Now for the pesto, and this is where the magic happens. In a food processor, combine a 1/3 cup of basil leaves, 1 tablespoon of pine nuts, 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, 1 clove of garlic, a tablespoon of olive oil, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Blend it to a chunky consistency. You don't want it to be smooth. Dab a little of that pesto onto each skewer, drizzle with some olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and finish with a pinch of salt. These little skewers can be made ahead too. So you have a really versatile appetizer that you can take anywhere, and it was incredibly easy to put together. No complicated techniques, no crazy ingredients, we're just making good food here. Now we're moving on to something with a little bit more going on. Potato samosas. Now this is the only appetizer on our list today that takes longer than 10 minutes to make, but I think it's worth it. They're really not hard, plus you can freeze them and bake them whenever you need them. Peel and cube 1 pound of yellow potatoes. Cover them with 1 inch of water in a saucepan, add about a teaspoon of salt, bring it to a boil, then simmer them until fork tender, about 8 minutes. Then drain them and let them cool. While the potatoes are cooling, let's get our dough made. You can use store-bought samosa dough, or you could use spring roll wrappers if you like, but the dough is just as easy to make at home. In a bowl, combine 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Mix it up with your hands until it looks like little pebbles. Then gradually add about 2/3 cup of water until the dough comes together. Coat it with oil and let it rest for 20 minutes while you make the samosa filling. Heat a tablespoon of cooking oil in a skillet over medium-high heat. Add 1 diced small yellow onion and saute until golden brown. Stir the potatoes into the onions. Then add 1-inch piece of grated ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon of garam masala, and the remaining 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Stir in 1/2 cup of peas and 1/4 cup of chopped cilantro and cook just until the peas are warmed through. Now for the fun but slightly messy part of folding them. Roll 1/3 of the dough out into a circle and cut it into 6 wedges. Place about 1 tablespoon of mixture onto each piece. Run some water along the top seam and pinch those ends together. Roll it slightly so you can seal that seam down. Then fold up the other pointy end. Arrange the samosas on a baking sheet. Whisk an egg with a tablespoon of water and brush it over the tops. I'm using my bi-global air fryer to make these today. It is a super easy way to go without having to preheat your oven or use a vat of oil. And the 8-quart basket will hold them all at the same time. Air fry them for 8 minutes on 400 degrees Fahrenheit, or if you're using the oven, go with 12 minutes on 425 degrees Fahrenheit until they're golden and firm. Serve them warm or cold with chutney on the side for dipping. People are going to be super amazed that you made these from scratch. especially after they taste them. They're so good. Plus, these cute little guys are perfectly happy to chill out on the table all afternoon without refrigeration. Next, we're making olive tapenade crostini. These are perfect because the olive spread won't go bad. It won't get soggy or be affected by the heat. In a food processor, combine 1 cup of pitted Kalamata olives, 4 olive-packed sun-dried tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of capers, 2 cloves of minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme, and half a teaspoon of black pepper. Blend it until it's a coarse paste. Spread it onto toasted baguette slices, and that's the whole recipe. Super simple. This is such a perfect appetizer. It's salty, briny, a little bright from the lemon. And it looks like you spent a lot more time on it than you did. That's good. Garlic bread bruschetta is up next, and this is the one that disappears first every single time. No one can resist these flavors. Slice a baguette into 1/2-inch pieces. Brush both sides with a 1/4 cup of olive oil and season with salt and pepper. Set them on a parchment-lined baking sheet, and then bake them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 minutes until they're golden. We can put together the topping while those are toasting. In a bowl, combine 2 cups of diced fresh grape or cherry tomatoes, a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, a 1/4 cup of fresh basil sliced into thin ribbons, 2 cloves of minced garlic, salt and pepper to taste, a tablespoon of olive oil, and a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. Stir it all up. Once the bread is out of the oven, all you have to do is load up each slice with some of the tomato mixture. That's it. Simple ingredients, no fuss, and they taste incredible. This next one is a lovely bowl of marinated olives. You do have to have some pre-planning because of the marination time, but they are always a hit at a party. In a 16-ounce jar, layer 1 pound of drained and rinsed mixed olives with 4 thinly sliced cloves of garlic, 2 sprigs of rosemary, 8 sprigs of thyme, 1 bay leaf, and the rind of 1/2 of a lemon. If you like a little heat, add a teaspoon of crushed red chili flakes. Pour in some extra virgin olive oil, just enough to submerge all of the olives. Seal the jar and let it sit in the fridge for about 48 hours or up to a week. You can dress them up with some sprigs of rosemary and maybe a lemon peel or 2. This is one of the simplest ways to impress. You get these beautiful olives that everyone is going to love, and there was almost no effort involved. Those are good. Next up are hummus crudité cups, and these are really great if you want something that looks super put together but only takes about 10 minutes. Plus, you'll learn how to make your own hummus. In a blender, combine 1 15-ounce can of chickpeas, 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1/4 cup of tahini, 3 to 4 tablespoons of water, a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon of salt, and 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. Blend it up until it's smooth. You can add more water if you need to get it really smooth. You'll need some little cups for this because it's an individual serving, and I found that regular shot glasses are a little too small, so I have these 3-ounce glasses that I'm using, and since they're glass, I can reuse them anytime I want. Spoon some hummus right into the bottom of a small glass or cup. Then you just load it up with whatever crudité you've got on hand. Some baby carrots, radishes, bell peppers, cucumber spears, anything goes. It's basically a built-in serving size, which feels so fancy for something so simple. These spicy watermelon wedges are gonna steal the show at your cookout. And trust me, once you try this, you're never gonna go back to plain wedges again. Start with a mini seedless watermelon. You wanna slice it into thick 1-inch slices. Then cut each slice into wedges like a pizza. In a bowl, we're mixing chopped cilantro, jalapeno, the lime juice and zest, a little olive oil, and honey. This sauce is bright, it's sweet, and it's got just enough kick to keep things interesting. Lay out those watermelon wedges on a platter and spoon that dressing right over the top. Then sprinkle on some Maldon flake salt, and if you want a little more kick, go in with a pinch of red chili flakes. You might think that sweet is the only thing watermelon should do, but after this, you're gonna be all in on the spicy and salty too. It's the perfect appetizer to start your party off on the right foot.
Next up is the easiest appetizer on this whole list, Antipasto Skewers. We're making 18 of them and there's no cooking involved at all. In a bowl, combine green olives, pepperoncini, cornichons, pickled onions, marinated artichoke hearts, and roasted red peppers, or whatever version of that you want to make. Pour in half a cup of Italian dressing and stir it all up. If you've got time, let this sit in the fridge for about 24 hours to really marinate. But if you don't have the time, it's still really good without the marinating. Thread one of each item onto small skewers. Stack them on a platter, drizzle on a little bit more of that marinade, and garnish with some fresh chopped parsley. The best part about this is that any combination of veggies will work for you on these skewers. This time we have no refrigeration, so we skipped the meats and cheeses and just went with some lovely pickled vegetables. I think this is such a great appetizer because it's simple, it's beautiful, and you really can't go wrong. I love the marinated artichokes.
Edamame is packed with protein. It cooks really fast and it absorbs a lot of flavor. You can find frozen edamame in the pod in the freezer section. This bag is about 12 ounces, so it's gonna be about 4 servings. By the way, this makes a really great snack, so don't hesitate to make some extra. Just boil them in salted water for about 2 minutes. Set them on a paper towel so they don't bring water into the sauce later on. If you're liking this video so far, please pop down and give it a like so that more people like you can find us. Just enough time for me to make the sauce for the edamame. I've got about half a tablespoon of oil. To that, add 1 tablespoon of grated garlic and 1 tablespoon of grated ginger. Cook it for about a minute. Now add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of sambal olik or sriracha, half a teaspoon toasted sesame oil, and 2 teaspoons of honey. Let it simmer for a minute or 2. Toss the cooked edamame into a bowl. Pour on the sauce. Stir it up and get everything coated. If you could smell it in here, the ginger, garlic, and sesame oil are all melding together. Garnish it with toasted sesame seeds. And try not to eat the entire bowl before dinner. Maybe just one more? I think this is my love language.
I think it's always a great idea to add some salads to your appetizer spread. There's always fried foods, breads, meats, but there's never enough salads. These wedge salad bites are a perfect addition. They are a fantastic little bite. We've got iceberg lettuce, bacon, cherry tomatoes, cubed avocados, some red onion, ranch dressing, and some crumbled blue cheese. You're also going to need 4-inch skewers to put them all together. Start by threading on the lettuce a bite-sized chunk, then 2 pieces of bacon, a piece of avocado, a tomato, and a little more lettuce. Next, we can sprinkle on some onion bits and blue cheese. And drizzle on that ranch dressing. They're perfect. Doing jalapeno popper puff pastry twists. I use every opportunity to use those jalapenos I'm growing out in the garden, and today this is how we're using them. First, we're going to preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Get that going. And then grab a baking sheet with some parchment paper. This is where we're going to put the twists. Make sure you have everything prepped before you go. You want to slice some jalapenos. You can remove some of the seeds if you don't want it to be too hot. Cook and crumble up your bacon. Make sure you get the cream cheese out of the fridge about an hour in advance so that it can soften up. That'll make it way more spreadable. We've got our puff pastry, and then we're just gonna crack an egg in a bowl and beat this. It's gonna be our egg wash. And once you've done all of that, you're ready to go. Now you can unroll the puff pastry and roll it out to about a 1/4 inch thickness. Spread on the cream cheese. Try to get it all the way to the edges. Then sprinkle on those jalapeno slices. I like to just even them out. You can use as many as you want, less if you don't want it to be too hot. And now sprinkle on the bacon. Then add about half of the cheese over the top. Now that we got this all dressed up, we're just gonna fold over about half of this and press it together just like a sandwich. Grab a large knife or pizza cutter and make strips that are about a ½ inch thick. Twist those strips and set them on your baking sheet. Then brush on the egg wash and top them with the rest of the cheddar. Bake them at 375 degrees for about 18 minutes. When it's halfway through, I usually just flip the tray around so that they get evenly cooked. Then serve them hot with some ranch or another dipping sauce on the side.
Today we're making tomato manchego tartlets. I could eat a dozen of these. They're so cute and the flavor is incredible. Store-bought puff pastry makes this super easy. Find a cup that's the right size to cut a 3-inch circle. Cut as many as you can get. Pierce the dough all over with a fork. Then transfer the circles to a baking sheet. Use the back of a small spoon to spread on the mustard. Then evenly sprinkle on the cheese. Top with a tomato slice and brush it with olive oil. Then season the top with salt and pepper. Bake it for 30 minutes. Garnish with chopped chives and serve. Don't forget to keep one for yourself.
I love making a fruit plate for a barbecue or an outdoor party. It's so refreshing and it doubles as table decoration too. If you set this in the middle of your table, everyone's gonna love it. I like to put some cheese in the center to hold in the skewers. I'm using brie here. I'm putting a few raspberries and some blueberries for decoration. Now you can thread the fruit onto the skewers. Use whatever fruit you like for these. I like to buy a carton of fruit to make it easy. I'm using rainbow colors because I really like the way it looks. As you get these done, you can stick them into the cheese in the center of the plate. Just look how pretty that is. Every barbecue or party needs a couple of sweet bites to end the night, and I'm making these awesome little s'mores on a stick. I'm just making 12 of these today, just for a smaller party, but you can double or triple it. These are actually really great as a dessert for a large party because you can get them done in advance. Just stick them out and dessert's ready. Once you've got a skewer in each marshmallow, you can grind up the graham crackers. I'm using my mini chopper. You just want them to be about pebble-sized pieces. I'm using Ghirardelli dark chocolate wafers. Put your chips or wafers in a microwave-safe bowl. Microwave them at about 15-second intervals, stirring in between until it's mostly melted. Dip your marshmallows in the chocolate, then directly into the graham cracker crumbs. They'll take about 10 minutes to set, but you can eat them right away if you want. If you don't have a fire pit and you don't want to go through all that trouble, this is pretty much the next best thing.
We've seen so many viral desserts, but these dot cakes just seem to hit differently. And they're really easy to make for a party. You can use a box cake or make one yourself. Bake it and let it cool. Then use these cute little individual cups to cut out the cake. For the frosting, I'd suggest using buttercream frosting that you make, or buy a tub at the grocery store because it doesn't need to be refrigerated right away. Then come the sprinkles. Dump them all on a small plate and press down to coat the top. I know they're just cake, but they're so cute and really fun to eat. Now you have 15 great appetizers that can sit out all afternoon and no one needs to worry about them, which means you actually get to enjoy your party for once.
And if you're already thinking about what to serve next, go watch our Easy Party Dips video because every party spread needs something to scoop.